Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's Jay where you at, of course, and I'm here to show you some more suggestions since everyone seemed to like the last video. But let me not waste any more time and get into it. Now our first suggestion here made by, I'm not gonna say that username, I'm just gonna put it right there, and it's a shotgun suggestion, a simple item concept I came up with. Since we already have a gun and sniper in the game, it would be nice to have a gun which allows for a little more room for mistake when firing a bit too early or too late, or to instantly discourage players from getting close. It has 4 durability. After it breaks, it will ragdoll the player back a bit, about half as much as the sniper does. It is aimed with R. Whilst aim, you won't be zoomed in or anything, but you will be able to fire it. You will also be slowed down and unable to use moves. When it's not aimed, you can still use your moveset, so you don't sacrifice your moves in exchange for this not-so-skilled shooter's assistant advice. It's nearly as rare as the sniper, well, since we don't want to see people easily getting this and spamming it. It fires 5 pellets, each doing 7 damage, allowing players to kill someone in just 3 shots at close range or 4 shots at medium range, since it has a range that's slightly worse than a revolver, or at least 3 pellets landing each time at its maximum range due to its spread. It can break parries and will ragdoll and knock back the hit target at about half as strength as the sniper. And here's the model. Now our next suggestion here made by Lead Pawn, and it says, Yuji's perfect block and R special keeps getting nerfed, and I have some mixed feelings about it. Some people are happy, but some people also resent the constant nerfs and think Yuji is being gutted too much. My solution, let Yuji's players temporarily earn back his old mechanics if they lock in, introducing Vessel passive, the zone. If Yuji lands 4 black flashes in a row, a thin bar with the words the zone will appear above his awakening that gradually drains for 2 minutes. In those 2 minutes, he gets his perfect block mechanic back, his R special no longer drains awakening, and the number cap on his black flash change increases from 4 to 5, or any number that Tease thinks is balanced. Now, I do think that this is a great addition to Yuji, but, you know, since it's Tease, of course he's not going to add it. Our next suggestion by Corvexis. Build a mode suggestion, tag blocks. Tag block. Input ID, the ID required to trigger the block. Tag ID, the ID assigned to the player when the block is triggered. It can be any combination just like input and output IDs. Keep on def. White and black toggle, which determines you keep the tag when you die. Usage. When the tag is triggered via an assigned input ID, it will assign a tag to a player with the duration depending on the toggles selected. Tag checker block, input ID, the ID required to trigger the block. Output ID, the ID of the output after a tag is successfully checked for and found. Tag ID, the ID the tag checker will check for. If found, then it will trigger the output ID. Remain, white and black toggle, which determines whether you keep the tag after using it to trigger an output ID or not. Client, white or black toggle, which determines whether the output will apply to the client or the server. This can be used for doors, which only individuals with a certain tag can go through. For the client, the output opening the door has occurred, but not the server. Other players has not. Usage. If the intended tag is discovered, then the tag checker block will output a specific ID, otherwise it will do nothing. Bonus. Add a configurable regeneration timer to moves with durability. The amount of charges to regen each time and the max number of charges. Example, 3 charges of durability returns after 1 minute, max charge of 5, or 1 charge of durability returns after 30 seconds, 3 charges max. Also, add a feature that doesn't take a durability charge if the move doesn't land. This can be useful for Psycho awakenings. Landing a move so many times gives you a new move temporarily. Oh, and making it so losing a durability charge on a move gives the charge for another move. Example, use up all the charges for a move. Use the move that comes when the durability is 0. Gain another charge for the first one. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it seems a bit confusing, but I think I don't know, I really don't know. Like, I think the door example kind of helped me there, but our next suggestion by Outverse says, can we please add the ability to make multiple admins in a private server so I don't have to ask my friends to remove builder flight constantly? I feel like this is really helpful when, like, you're in your private server, like you're building or something. Basically, it's just mods in the server, basically, because it's just like, can I please get infinite awakening? Can I blah 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 blah? It doesn't matter. Now our next suggestion here by Fuzzy Yat. When you use body repel while holding the Transfigured human tool, it summons a polymorphic soul isomer instead of a regular Transfigured human. According to lore, polymorphic soul person focuses on burst damage with actual weak defense. As you see, body repel's starting animation is merging, so 4 Transfigured humans morph. This perfectly fits how the polymorphic soul person is created. Also, that person is literally glass cannon. It brings fun and doesn't affect the balance with the image right there. Now, I kind of have mixed feelings on this, but another suggestion in this video will kind of feature this person again. So, I'm sorry I'm taking so much pauses. I'm trying to talk here, but I'm tired. Now, our next suggestion by Andre322322. I think I had this person in the last video. I don't know. Add so we can see the cooldowns for some items, because this would be cool. As you see the voice recorder. Now, I honestly think it should be on the side instead of like near the awakening bars, or it takes up another move slot in the case of, you know. Or it should just really be a different symbol you have to press instead of a number. Like you have to press F, or no, not F. Can you click? Wait, what button is F? Doesn't matter. Our next suggestion here made by cat_GL4Z. Oh, I had this person in the last video too. Add this as an emote, a prepare clapped or some other name. Player stands in a pose like they're about to clap with their hands slowly moving like the video, and the button appears on the screen. Upon pressing it, the character will make one loud long clap that he can be heard in a big radius and will just freeze in this pose until the player stops the emote. A button can appear 1 or 2 seconds late to prevent spamming. 1 clap per emote use. And it says we need more JJK based emotes, which I do agree with. Our next suggestion by, I'm gonna say Sir Nav. A menu like this or something so we could switch characters in peace or load in without some drone attack you. I disagree. Now, am I the drone attacking you? Yes, but when you need some free awakening and the dummy isn't there, and plus it's a battlegrounds game, dude, not a freaking adventure game. You spawn in and fight, dude. And plus, it'd be kind of tiring if you die and then you have to go to this menu all over again. Like, this isn't Combat Warriors, bro. But it is a nice concept, though. Our next suggestion by Skywalker66678. Wall combo. If you double click Q while falling off a tall building, like the 2 big blue buildings of course, you and your enemy will get to fight sideways on the building for 10 to 20 seconds. It only works if you and the person you last hit are falling somewhere high. Double jump to jump off. Also, add some taller buildings and spawn in a tower so this could be really cinematic with the reference, of course. I think an example of this, of course, when Gojo and Sukuna were fighting on the buildings, which is a good example. And also, there's literally a map preset. I think there's a map preset where it's literally the sideways building, so people can, you know, fight there. Next suggestion by Lona Larab says make barrier fragments disappear 10 seconds after the end of the domain expansion, and make it to where Todo is able to swap places with the domain fragments like he did in the manga. Wow, is this an actual JJK suggestion that someone actually read the manga? Because I'm pretty sure 80% of the people that play JJS has not watched or read JJK. But this would be really good. And also another suggestion I like to add on here is when Todo gets his hand cut off, like, or just a limb removed from Higurama or something, they should automatically add the Vibra slap on there. Because, you know, it would be lore accurate. But our next suggestion by Spookster, which it says, a fun setting, black and white. You call it manga or noir or whatever, but black and white is more simple. Turns everything black and white, obviously, but makes shadows such as the players and buildings more stylized, similar to the manga. As you see in the picture right there, it has little scribbles below it, so you know it looks like the manga. And inside the buildings, and the inside of the buildings will look darker from the outside, but will be brighter on the inside. Well, as you also you can see it in the background. It has kind of scribbles and stuff. And our next suggestion here, usually I don't do moveset suggestions, but when it has like animation, custom, when it has its own, when the owner or the maker of the suggestion has its own animations and pictures and stuff, I kind of have to add it. But our next one is Sugar Manipulator, which is based off that one guy in the manga. I forgot because, you know, that's how forgettable he is. But it's a base character suggestion. Sugar Manipulations. All moves have short cooldowns, but using a lot of moves in quick succession will make the user tired, causing their screen to get more darker around the area and making each attack less effective. R. Relax. The user takes a deep breath, clearing all fatigue. Removes all sugar placed by the user across the map. 1. Sweet treats. Launches a barrage of random desserts in front of the user. If the dessert misses the target, it will dissolve into a sugar clump on the floor. Variant. If you press R while using this move, you instead place one dessert and place it on the floor in front of you. Other players can pick it up and eat it to heal. Take 16 HP. Our next move is 2. Hardened sugar. All sugar clumps are flung towards the opponent, restraining them to about a half a second to 3 seconds, depending on how much sugar they're caught in. Variant. The user forms all the sugar into one big ball and throws it at the opponent in front of them. Basically, Mahoraga's ground pitch. The damage is dependent on the amount of sugar, and the attack also decreases the opponent's speed for 2 to 7 seconds and slightly obscures their screen, unblockable. Crystal Lance. The user charges up a lunge attack. The longer it's charged, the more fatigued the player becomes, but it's also increasing the damage and lunge of the attack. Variant. If you press R while using this move, you will instead create a colorful layer of armor around your torso. The armor has plus 12 HP, and while the armor is active, you cannot be stunned by attacks that deal less than 12 damage. So basically, Hikari's bullet, you can walk straight through it. Sugar creation. The user creates a candy cane as a weapon. A candy cane pole as a weapon, increasing M1 damage, but also shattering on the 6 M1, can be dropped for other players to use. If attacked during the startup of the move, you counter the attack and throw the weapon at the enemy, similar to Broken Playful Cloud. And also he says he ran out of space, but the ult removes the fatigue feature temporarily. Now for sugar creation, that's kind of like punishing someone for interrupting a move is sort of like a counter. Like, just say counter, really, variant. But that's also a cool suggestion, because I don't think many people even know the character. I didn't even know the character, but the suggestion was so well made, blah, 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 I'm glazing. But next suggestion, made by Officer BT3, was taken, is Higurama Execution variant. Pressing 1+3 would do a series of stabs, similar to Despair. You're able to freely aim the move, similar to Despair, however, it is not hit ragdoll. This uses both cooldowns of the moves, however, you can hit multiple people with the move. Why should this be added? It's a mix-up, fits with Higurama's moveset. It isn't necessarily better than using both moves, but it's better in certain scenarios, team fights. Like team fights, I meant to say. And it's low-key cool. Stats, 5 to 35 damage based on how long someone is hit for. Dang, so minimum damage is 5? Always takes off one limb and can hit multiple people as listed below. Our next suggestion by JD3_Racer, domain clashing. Now, of course, you've probably seen 20 suggestions on domain clashing, but I'm still going to show you it. When two domains are activated within the same time frame, they will begin a clash. The two fighters will have to duke it out until one of the opponents is at half their original health upon opening the domain. Then the winner's domain will take over. The fighters will be reversed to their base to make the fight fair and it lasts longer. So just like that kind of like defeats the whole point of winning the domain, though. There's a time limit on how long they can clash for before both domains break. Maybe a minute or... it just clicked in my head. I thought when the person wins the domain clash, but like that's the domain clash. They just fight inside there. Additionally, the two clashing domains should have different options on how to set up their domain for the clash that can have effects on how the fight will play out. Three or domains being active will break all domains. Bad grammar there. Gojo and Yuta can reverse domain conditions / basketball domain, which you don't know. The image right here says it's as small as a basketball, so small domain basically. Gojo, Yuta, Mahito can leave the conditions the same. Gojo and Mahito 0.2 domain. Sukuna can make his domain open, make the sure hit only hit the outside of the domain. An explanation. Reversing domain conditions causes the outside barrier to be strong, but also causes the inside to be weak. So any attacks hitting the floor of the domain would break the domain as hitting the domain would. Basketball domain. Makes the outside of your domain indestructible. Gives you a shorter time limit for your fight, or else the others' domains will take over. If both domains use this, then they'll both break after the time limit. Useful against open domains and teamers. Leave conditions the same. Leave the conditions the same as their normal domain. Useful for Sukuna as he can trick people. Open domain will allow hitting the opponent's domain from the outside, so if their domain is normal, they will have their domain broken within seconds. Players will be able to leave the domain area, but take more damage. 0.2 domain works exactly as current. Sure hit will be applied before the opponent can even open their domain. Higurama and Hikari, no change. And their notes say, please tease, listen to the community. Engaging domain clashing is all we want. Now really, when it comes to domain clashing, it's either as complex as this or as simple as, Realm Rampage is ultimate clashing, because it's not just domains you could clash with. Now I ain't gonna lie, I was stuttering a lot during that because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't, that's another suggestion I don't really understand, but I feel like I really had to add it because, it's domain clashing. Everyone wants domain clashing. But next, our suggestion is made by Toko, saying a lot of logic stuff. Suggestion, complete book. Sound, area mode, where sound plays directly on the screen if you're inside the block instead of a specific spot. Team, clothing edition, shirts and pants when joining a team. Mover, instant reset, instead of slowly dragging back to the original position when there's no output. Dummy, respawn toggle, if the output is still going, the dummy will automatically respawn when it dies. Moveset, selected random moves, lets us select which moves will be given out. Timer, instant reset, instead of slowly counting down, the timer will reset to 0 when there's no output. And new logic block ideas, newest ideas, outlines, gives you an outline or glow with customizable color and see-through settings like the image. Multiplier, gives you a movement multiplier based on an input. For example, 1.1x multiplier of speed, jump, or gravity of the normal, or 0.2 that decreases. Bro, this guy can't spell and doesn't have good grammar. Character, lets you equip the character in the logic block area when the output is being triggered. All cures except for early access, obviously. Oh my god, man. Like, I'm telling you, it's not me, bro. These are genuinely so hard to read, bro. But our next move said by Dave_no_sleep. Transfigured human / flesh with the perfection suggestion. When holding a transfigured flesh or transfigured human, you can press R to store them. Pressing R again after storing your desired amount will create something cool. 1. Transfigured human / flesh equal normal wall or normal transfigured human. 2. Transfigured humans or flesh, spiky ball. 3 of them, mini body repels or spiky ball. 4 of them, polymorphic soul person, and 5, a clone of you but weaker. So just an NPC with the images right there. Now, but as we all, I want to disagree with this as much as I want, but it's a suggestion. It makes the game more interesting. And also, when's the last time Mahito has been nerfed or touched or anything? Like, I'm not gonna lie, Mahito's probably like the worst character in the game currently. I don't like every character. I could get beat with like every character in the game except for like Mahito and Gojo, bro. Our next suggestion. Oh, these next 2 suggestions, instead of forwarding them from the featured suggestions, because in order to get these suggestions, as you know, I'm banned from the JJS Discord, so I have an alt account that forwards it towards me. And so our next 2 suggestions, though, I had to forward straight from the featured or from the suggestions channel, which doesn't show the names when I feature it. But our next suggestion says make weapons show up in animations that have weapon animations, or maybe an option to turn weapons on and off. Which I agree with this, because like you shouldn't. I hate when I have to swap to a specific character to use a specific moveset. Like, for example, if the moveset, I feel like there should be an option where the moveset instantly swaps you to the character when you like use it. And our next suggestion here is the Mahoraga Changes. I've been using Mahoraga for quite the time, but since Defense Attorney and Yuta, they've been quite a nightmare. Now, as we all know, if you watch my A Day in Life in Mahoraga, which was my first video on this channel, and Mahoraga versus he and Sukuna, which is also a semi-good video, you know that I'm very good with Mahoraga, so this suggestion is going to keep my eyes peeled. Let's see. Burst. Every time you burst, you adapt to the last attack you have been hit. It would cap at 25%. Adaptation mode. Passive. Your ult drains 60% slower. Passive. If players deal over 100 damage while in adaptation, you would adapt to the last attack. You could change it to adaptation mode while stunned, which literally makes this kind of OP. Like, I know you have to already swap to the adaptation mode when you're in the Gojo's domain, but if you're stunned, or that could be an exception, when you're stunned in Gojo's domain, you can automatically just change to adaptation mode if you get caught off guard. But our next is adaptation ability. Missing your ability should set the cooldown to 20 seconds. Ooh. Adaptation will result in you getting iframes and also heals 20. Wait, what? Whoa. You're telling me if you adapt to an attack, you get iframes. Basically saying you're invincible. And it also heals you 20 HP. Decreases by 5 if you use it again in the next 10 seconds. Cap 5 HP. Oh, that's the cap? The decrease cap? Or is that the HP cap? Doesn't matter. Domain adaptations would not reset if you adapt to other attacks, but it would have a cap of 50%. Adapting fully to a specific attack would give you 20% damage boost to that ability type if you have it, which is like melee. I think Mahoraga has all like ability types. He has projectile, and I think that world cutting slash is a blast attack. Melee, of course. I'm just yapping. Alright, new domain adaptations. Getting hit by Jacob's ladder while using adaptation would give you an instant 50% domain adaptation. Defense attorney. In his domain, you don't drain ritual. I don't think you already don't drain ritual. Adapting while your moves are confiscated will result in them returning to you after 20 seconds if defense attorney hasn't been killed. You have 6 seconds to adapt to the confiscated moves after the domain has broke. You can only return one move. I feel like they should make it to where you have like 2 seconds or 1 second, because like I feel like that's a bit too easy. Mahoraga should be difficult to play. If you don't like these changes, or at least just it has some achievements, which is new achievements. Unstoppable. Last 20 seconds or last 20 minutes when you're Mahoraga. I understand it now. Parry world cutting slash and then use your world cutting slash against the person you parried 20 seconds after you parried it. New record. Throw a player 200 studs away from you and I'm innocent. Adapt to a confiscation. Now, I probably rate that a suggestion like a 7 out of 10, but it doesn't matter. Next suggestion is made by Blazility, which is weapon skins ideas. Ooh, oh boy, here comes the microtransactions and gamblings, aka Realm Rampage. But basically, there will be a new section in the shop similar to emotes where you get a random weapon skin for every purchase. The price would remain the same as emotes, which I kind of disagree with. Should make it more expensive or less, but the same price, since, you know, these weapons are gonna, I feel like they should make it less, because these weapons are of course locked to a certain character, while emotes you can use with everyone. There would be a separate section in your inventory to equip them. For katana skins, depending on the type of sword / katana, it could have different drawing animations too. The weapon that received the skin so far would be Defense Attorney's Gavel, Cursed Partners, Katana, and Aspiring Manga's G War Staff. That's what it's called. The images right here showing this hammers and swords. That looks like Thor's hammer. And these swords... Ooh, is that... Wait, that's the Uchiha sword? That looks like a lightsaber. And I know that looks like Maki's staff, but the little red one, I don't know what that one looks like. And the red hammer, I don't know what that looks like either. Now next is, you've probably already seen this suggestion, but I'm going to put it in the video anyways. It's made by Moose RJ, which says Sukuna's True Domain, Open Domain. Basically the 0.2 domain of Gojo's, but altered. Doing a domain, you will still receive your ult, but will only have time for one ult move. Ultimate plus R. Doing the ultimate plus R would change the awakening text to "You're such an annoying brat" to "You might have had the chance to defeat me back then." After saying this speech, he then popped his domain that ragdolls people far away once he's activated, but not that far. The Malevolent Shrine soundtrack would begin playing with the intense laughing in the background. The dismantle range would just be bigger, would just be the size of Blood range, but a little bigger. Ultimate move variants. Dismantle does more damage. Rush now cancels after the uppercut. And Open is now bigger, but does little less damage. Malevolent Shrine is replaced with Dismantle Spiderweb, a new move that when the user punches the ground, it erodes with dismantles. The user can't leave the domain, neither can the people inside it, or they get dismantled and ragdolled back into the domain, which would probably do more damage since you're ragdolled. R Special is disabled due to it being the fourth move. During the domain expansion, anyone inside the domain will see dismantle effects all around them in the red sky, referenced in Season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen. Duh! And when popping the domain, a little cutscene would play with the spin around the user. So this is kind of like Sorcerer's Battlegrounds, because like they had the cutscene, it had the open domain, had the slashes and red sky. This is literally just Sorcerer's Battlegrounds. Yes, Mahoraga can adapt to this, but can still be easily overwhelmed. In all honesty, you could think your own idea on how this looks. Now, by the way, before I played JGS, I played Sources of Battlegrounds. Now Sukuna's domain is still open and has the red sky, but before it had the cutscene but didn't have the red sky. So this is kind of like a combination of both of them. And plus, these images both look really detailed, with honestly the domain barrier being kind of like semi-transparent. Like it looks like Dio's time stop from Realm Rampage. Our next suggestion, made by 53 Earcy, I don't know if I said that correctly. Now, once again, this is a moveset suggestion, but it has images and videos, so I want you guys to see this. Now, this Jogo suggestion is Destructive Flames. That's what it's gonna be called. Now, his first move is Crushing Jump, and wait, I could low-key just make y'all watch the video to really explain it. I don't have the app for this part.
Alright, we're getting to our final three custom suggestions, our suggestions, because I said custom because our next suggestion by Angelica270405 says custom objects and movesets. A simple ability to build inside the skill builder itself, making you able to use mover blocks to create structures inside the skill builder that would complement movesets. So basically you can make custom swords. Allowing players to create custom domains, new projectiles to their moves, and much more. Allowing players to do this will open much bigger possibilities to making new movesets that are related to object manipulation or manifestation in a way that would be interesting to see and do. It could work similarly to how normal domains work by temporarily teleporting players to an area that they could build custom assets that would spawn as the move was used. Our next suggestion by GlebKayor2, which says victim setting for animation timeline. If it's on, the animation will not play on the player that has used the move, but will play on the player that was hit with the move instead. Could be used for Higurama ult-like movesets for dodging animations. basically just custom animation for the person that gets hit, which is to really short it with the this picture is funny because the victim text looks really low quality while everything else looks normal. But next up, in our final suggestion made by I don't know that name, but it says, right now Mahoraga can only adapt to one type of damage at a time. If you switch to another damage type, the first one resets to 0. This makes adaptation feel restrictive and punishes player to reacting to different opponent, especially in large team fights, which, you know, if you're Mahoraga, you're guaranteed to get jumped. This makes wait, I reset that. I propose to allow Mahoraga to adapt to multiple types of damage simultaneously, each tracked independently. Example, adapt to melee and builds up to 70% reduction. Later adapt to projectiles. A new bar starts building without resetting melee. Both resistance stay active once built, but this may make Mahoraga to feel too overpowered. So to balance Mahoraga to keep him fair, I propose a ritual meter trade-off. Every additional adaptation slightly increases the ritual drain speed, so you must manage survival more carefully. Cooldown penalties. Switching to a new damage type now has a longer adaptation cooldown. I like the suggestion, but Mahoraga's bar already drains quickly, but if it was the old bar, how it worked, and you died instantly instead of your health draining, this suggestion would be in the dirt. But that wraps it up for this video. This was about 30 minutes of me yapping, and I kind of stuttered a lot during this recording, but I still wanted to make this video because I liked all these suggestions. But of course, thank you for watching. Have a great day, and bye-bye.